All right, grabbing a Coke and heading back into the sun. There it is. Come on, auto exposure. Handle it for me. Handle it. I know it's horrible. I think without an ND filter, I think that's the next step is ND, and then prime lens. Prime lenses, ND filters, more money. Oh, let's go back in the house. It's so hot. Right. There it is. Big, beautiful barbecue grill. All right, Dad Random here. This is a supplement of the big, beautiful barbecue grill build. I've got a significant amount of progress done, so I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to the finish work. So a couple of things, really important things were decided, and I got some sheathing on, as you can see. So if you start to look at the concrete board I've got on, I got this whole corner. I've got the fridge framed in, so you can see we've got that framed in. And we did make a decision on the outlet, so if we go around here, and you can see we've got that outlet right there. That's in that shady spot right there. So that is now in, and we've got some good seams going on. You can see I've had to change some of the fastener types. I was getting some cracking on the edges, and I have had that happen before, where these ones that countersink, but I can easily hide these later. Since this is going to have a coat of stucco on it, I can build up that edge and take care of that. And we come around this edge right here. You can see how this is blending in pretty good. We've got good seams, not a lot that I have to build out there. I did shorten these. So we're going to have about a 13-inch countertop that will overhang probably about a half an inch to maybe an inch. Just depends on the build out and everything. So it should be pretty nice. So I did make another decision. I'm actually going to be putting on a sheet of plywood on top of this, and I decided to do plywood this time instead of concrete board, because with granite countertops, which I think I'm going to put on, I think we're going to put granite on these and on that other, if you look at this other part. So if you go and check this out. So when I rebuild out this, you can see this old countertop's going to come off, and I'm going to put on a light colored granite on top of that. These will all have new doors. Those doors are in these boxes right there. I've got a new pull-out trash can that's going to go in there. Oh, another thing. Let me show you another thing that I did. So let me go ahead and just set this camera up real quick, so you can see what I'm up to over here. So this actually will pull out like that. See, it rides in the crack. So, and then you can see the refrigerator. I do have a backup fridge too. I've got another one, if you were wondering what this refrigerator is right here. This is actually a backup. It came out of my father-in-law's house, and it's basically, it's never been used. So yeah, that'll be my backup fridge. So, but you can see I filled that old hole right there where the gas line comes out with foam. So now if I get moisture in there, it'll pull up and stay out of that hole. I just wanted to get pretty much every area that could be, you know, that could have an issue fixed. I'm only going to cover about half of that. So only about the top half, I'm going to put some concrete board. So from about here down to this outlet, maybe a little bit lower. Right there. You can see the problems I was having. These here, they split things really easy. This concrete board is, you know, it's kind of flimsy in that way, but makes for a nice, good hard surface. So we do have an outlet here now, and that will be covered up with a countertop. So we're pretty good. We're basically to we're basically to that point where we can now look at it as a finished product. So yeah, so I should have the sheet that I'm one sheet short today, and then I have to go get plywood, so that will take care of that trip. And then everything should be pretty much ready to go. And then I've got to decide if I'm going to do the stucco work or if I'm going to go call my guys that had done work for me before. So hopefully I can get a hold of those guys. So if you're wondering that the materials I was using, what were the fasteners I was using for each of those? So there's a couple of different fasteners. Now, I liked, one of the things I like to use are these drywall bits, okay? So you'll notice that this actually has a little area that it's made specifically for drywall screws, but it works really good also for sheet metal screws. So I've been using a couple of different screws. I've been using these right here. These longer screws, these are about 1.25 inches, but I used a ton of these 3/4 inchers. These right here, these are what I usually would hold the steel together. These little 3/4 inch. You can see that the heads fit nicely inside of this bit, so gives me a little bit of little stability when I put screws in. And then these are the rock-on backer screws. I could have used. They actually make a drywall screw that's made to go into concrete, and that's probably what I should have used for going into regular drywall. Probably what I should have used, those smaller screws. Much smaller head, but it's all okay. It all works out. I mean, it's either take an extra trip and you get the same result anyway. So anyway, that's it. That's where we're at. That is that's the project. So yes, we are on the way to getting to what we call finishing touches. One more thing. Let me give you. So you're wondering what am I going to do with the corners? Okay, this is the process that I developed. I never learned this from anybody. This is kind of what I've been using is I use basically this tape right here. This is a mesh tape, like a drywall tape, but it's really good for putting on this heavy duty. This is Acryl-Pro. This is adhesive. I use this adhesive like drywall mud, and I put this tape on, and then I put a coat of that adhesive over the concrete. So I build up the corners, and it makes them nice and hard, so when you put stucco on them later, it creates a little build-up layer which takes some of the screws away, so you lose some of the heads of the screws at that point. It allows you to smooth out all of those areas that have cracks and things like that. And it actually gives you a like crack resistance in those areas that you have seams. So that's worked out pretty good. So yeah, so you can use just plain old fiberglass tape. This one is made for cement board. And then I use a outdoor version of acrylic professional tile adhesive. So a tile adhesive gets really hard but stays kind of flexible. So that stuff is really good. I've used that before. And then I just buy a cheap trowel and I just muck it on. So, and that's my system. That is the system that will cover all of those corners. If you're wondering how I cover the seams and the corners or deal with an area like that where I've got a crack, I can easily strengthen that area up with that tape process. It really makes it nice, and I never have to worry. There's really not a lot of expansion and contraction that happens with this. It's not like other surfaces. Steel and concrete, they move, but they don't move a terrible amount, and there's a lot of air going through it. Stays really dry. So we're good. All right. So I got to finish up that area, those two parapets right there, and then plywood across the top. Probably a sheet of 1/2 inch is probably what I'll go for. I don't want to build it up too much. If it just depends. We'll see what's on sale. Maybe I don't want to use OSB. I want to use a good grade of plywood, almost like a roofing material. And then I'll put that also on there, and that'll give me a nice solid surface to mount a countertop to. So when they use some kind of adhesive to mount the countertop, it'll just stick to that plywood, and it'll be nice and bonded well. So, right, Dad Random, the big beautiful barbecue grill is, it is coming along. It is nearing a point where I'm going to say that I'm excited. So new outlet, Backerboard going on, and then we just got some finish work to do. So probably get those. I'm probably going to get those countertops from Home Depot. They actually have a pretty good quality countertop. We've looked, and they'll actually assemble it, put it on for us, and measure it out. So that'll be really nice. All right, Dad Random, big beautiful barbecue build. It's taken time, but it's also given me a lot of time to really think about it so I can do it right. So that's the big thing. What do I want it to be like? What is right? What am I going to be happy with? Is it going to take the weather? Those kinds of things. So, all right, it's kicking my butt. I'm not able to give very long days, but so well. It's still happening. All right, Dad Random, thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying this segment. If you have any questions, anything that you're interested in, any tools that I'm using, any kind of things that I found to be really helpful. If you're wondering what I'm cutting the Backerboard with, I'm actually using a 4-inch right there. That's a 4-inch tile saw. And I put a tile cutting or a masonry blade on it. Works great. Throws up a lot of dust, but it's great for this kind of cutting. You can cut small areas. You can really cut a nice long line. It kind of glides along the top. You can keep control with it. I used to use just a plain old circular saw with a carbide tip blade, but that seems to be a really good compromise. So that's pretty much it. I don't spend a lot of money on my tools, but I've been working with tools for a long time. Yeah, but there it is. Yes, hopefully we'll get a finished segment coming, and I'll give you a finished product in the next segment, maybe right before it. We'll get the final rough and finish. So, am I going to enclose the back? Probably not. Probably not. It's going to be covered by the grill. You're never going to see it, and it allows me access to the electrical. So that's kind of the benefit of the way it is right now. Is just keeping it open. So I'm excited to get the gas going because we could hook this up. I've got to do the modification for that too with the kit. So we do have the natural gas modification kit, which includes a little bit bigger orifices. Basically, lower pressure gas, you need more volume, and to get the same heat. So propane's hotter than natural gas. So what do you think, Steve? What do you think? Huh? You excited for this heat to be out of here? Me too. I'm pretty much excited for the heat to be gone too. Good boy, Steve. You're always a good boy. You know you're a good boy, right? Right, should we go get coffee? You wanna go get coffee, Steve? Okay, we'll go get coffee. Steve said it's time to get coffee, so we're gonna get some coffee later. Bye.